Hey folks, something a little different tonight. As I often do, I made a stupid purchase this weekend. This is a scratch and dent Grizzly lathe slash milling machine. It's intended for metal, not wood at all. You can turn wood, but you really don't want to. It's not good for it. So first thing is, this thing weighs 440 pounds, according to the label here. It's 3/4 horse, 110 volt, yada yada yada. This is for machining metal, so basically anything that you can think of that's made out of metal that can fit in this machine with the capacity that it's got, you can probably make. So it can cut screw threads, you can make tapers, you can turn brake rotors on it theoretically. I'm not really sure how powerful it's going to be, how much of a cut I can take, anything like that. In order to get it out of my truck, it was loaded on a pallet. In order to get it out of my truck, I had to use this engine crane of my neighbor's and some straps, and we had to actually take off. This is the milling head slash drill chuck from it. Probably another 60 pounds, give or take. And then this is the actual jack that supports the assembly here. And then I also took the tailstock off. So it's basically a much bigger version of this lathe, except that this lathe is only for wood and plastics. Everything you do here is hand controlled. So you're controlling a chisel by hand or cutter by hand. Where with this, everything is done with these carriages. So that moves cutter in and out, or moves a piece of wood in or material in and out. This is the compound. It can be set at any angle, and the lathe bits actually sit on top of here in the tool holder, which is right back there. That unfortunately fell off in shipment, but I don't think it really hurt anything, so maybe a dent in my truck bed. These are all of the change gears for it and everything that it came with. Between that and this box here with some tools. That is mine. So these are for cutting different thread pitches. The gears. This is a center, a dead center. So on my little lathe, the wood lathe, the centers have bearings in them, or one of the centers has bearing in it. These are dead centers, so they don't have bearings, they don't spin. So they have to be riding in a special little hole with some grease on them. I got, by my count, I've got about 5 or 6 extra change gears in it. Not really sure why. Like I said, this was a scratch and dent item, so when I got it, I paid well under, let's see right here. I negotiated them down. Originally it was $825, and actually I ended up paying $725 for this. And it was originally $1,700 plus, once you factor in, I think almost $100, $120 worth of delivery charges. That's, close to $1,900 to get this thing new. As you can see, it does have some problems. So I guess that paper is not here. I don't know where that sheet went. It had a sheet on it that said what was wrong with it. Oh, I covered it up. It's this sticker right here. I'm gonna put the solid sticker on there. Basically, the problem with this is that the gearbox here leaks oil. So you can see right there, there's a bunch of oil leaking out. My assumption is that this was sent out to somebody. They found that it was leaking oil and did a warranty return on it, and Grizzly did a tent sale down in Springfield, Missouri. They do that once a year, and they had tons, literally tons of machines on pretty amazing markdowns. So I haven't really done anything to it other than getting it out of the truck. I've got it sitting on this plastic workbench, which is surprisingly rated to hold over twice the weight of the mill. I'm going to be putting together a solid wood workbench, sort of like this monstrosity, out of some cheaper lumber, but because this thing needs to be stable, it can't really shake. And I don't have anything other than this big workbench that can hold the weight. It's already got 500 pounds at least of equipment on this one, but this is for woodworking. Even though I've got stuff on there right now, I don't want it to get greasy or metal chips or anything like that. It's a really nice surface underneath the particle board. So other things that came with it, this is a faceplate. So if I were to turn something very large, I could put it on that, clamp it through these holes somehow. I don't have any clamps for it yet. And we've got, this is a backing plate for a chuck. So it's got a 3-jaw chuck on it right now. I can get a 4-jaw chuck, which I'm probably going to do. And that lets me adapt it. I may have to do some machining and modification or send that out, even if this is hardened steel, I might not be able to cut it with this little lathe. Came with a thing of really, really rank, nasty grease. We're not going to be using any of that. And then these are the jaws for the chuck. These are, let's see, these are outside jaws. So these are designed to be mounted this way and grip in. It's got inside jaws on it right now on the 3-jaw chuck. So, anyway, my goal for this thing is to get it running, figure it out, get it set up, and have some fun with it. Right now, obviously I've got the milling head taken off, and I did cover that with some plastic tape or some masking tape so I don't get chips into the gearbox here. I think I might have accidentally bent this lead screw. This is the main carriage lead. I don't know, it feels okay now, so it's probably fine. But I should be able to, it's sort of hard to do it with one hand. But if I engage, I've got a hand screw way over here. Yeah, so I need to grease everything. There's little grease fittings here. I need to get some 20 weight non-detergent oil, which I don't think I have in stock. This is also vise, so you know, if you're on a mill, your head's going to be up above here, and this can hold material in whatever orientation you need. It's fairly small. Be nice to get a bigger one, but I think I can even maybe lock it. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first machining machine. I've got drill presses and grinders and stuff like that, but this is the first real machinist quality tool I've ever owned. Right now, when I plugged it in, when I got it home Monday night, everything was working. The emergency stop button fell off during transit. I just need to put that back in somehow. But that's this thing is made in China, so nothing against that really. For the price point, you can't make something like this in America or England or anything like that, really. Like I said, this is 440 pounds of steel. Just that's pretty expensive to begin with, and there's a lot of machining that goes on into these. The bed is massive. It's cast and machined, and it's going to need some touch-ups and stuff. But so right now, when I try to plug it in, I just put the belt on tonight, and if I plugged it in, well, it doesn't start. I put the belt back on it. I started to take it off during shipment, but yeah, right now it's not starting at all. When I hit that button, sometimes that light comes on for a second. Not sure what's going on there. If it's got a resettable breaker, probably that's bad. I shouldn't be sticking my hand inside of a live electrical panel. So first things I'm going to do is just get this panel off and get that switch back together. Not sure how much I'm going to document of this right now. The shop is at peak capacity. I've got Spitfire here. I've got my welder set up back there and welding table, and I have started making some floor pans, or started working on patches for the floor pans here. Doesn't look like much, but I did. I'm slowly getting tooled up for that. So a few other new additions to the shop are this sheet metal brake. This is basically just a giant hinge that you strap this down to. See, that's where it hinges, and you can clamp pieces of metal to it to bend them. This is my big welder. I got this last Thanksgiving. I've done a little bit of welding with it, but I'm not an expert by any means. But I'm I'm approaching competency with MIG welding. That's nothing special, but it certainly isn't going to break. And I've got an English wheel. It's over there. I'm sorry, I've got a bead roller underneath that blue and black toolbox. I can show you. This is for making the kind of sharp lines in the sheet metal so that I can stiffen that metal to make floor pans. So yeah, I'm not sure how much of the rebuild on the lathe I'm going to be doing as videos. It's going to be a little bit hard for me to film stuff with the garage this fall, and I can't move this thing on my own. It's missing, one of the first things I need to do is make one more of these. This is a lifting point, and for whatever reason, it's missing one. Back here, there's a hole right there that should have one in it. I don't know why it doesn't, other than that that's where the motor is, but it would be really nice to have that. So I'm going to try to find, I think that a trailer hitch pin might work just fine for one of these. All it is there's a safety pin through it on the inside. So you can see, I mean, that's some pretty bad, you know, paint quality on this thing and stuff, but really all that matters is that it can machine fairly accurately. I'm not a machinist by any means, but I'd like to learn. This will let me build new parts for the Spitfire. So there's stuff like some brackets back here that they're buried on the other side of that, but I might need to make some of those. I don't know what all I'm going to use it for. Maybe some plates to change the ride height. I might make some pullers to remove the rear hubs, the wheel hubs. It'd be basically like that adapter there, but much beefier. Lathe is kind of ideal for that sort of thing. It's round. Lathes are for turning things round, so you can do all sorts of fun stuff with them. But the first thing is to figure out why it's not even powering on today. I hope it's not anything major, but we'll see. For the price I paid for this thing, it's... okay. Actually, I just figured it out. I don't have the door installed. So, if I do that... Yep. Okay, so there's a safety switch that means that it can't operate without the door installed. That's easy. I took the door off just to get it out of the way. You know, you don't really want to get caught in that, but hey, I fixed it. So, yeah, I'm going to just play around with this, figure out the controls on it, make sure that everything spins like it should, oil it up, and then I'm going to start taking it apart. I'm going to have to take, I think that there's just a bad gasket back here. You can actually see on the corner right there, there isn't a gasket in that corner. But it looks like that screw's definitely been leaking. There's also, well, I thought there was some oil on the chuck, but it looks like it's just discoloration. I don't know, I'll take some mineral spirits to that. Mineral spirits seem to clean up the old grease really well. When I go to mount the headstock, I have to shim it. There's actually some little copper shims that I saved, because that has to be shimmed to be exactly parallel to the bed. Right now this is a glorified 440-pound drill press. I can't do anything other than drilling on it because I don't have any milling cutters and I don't have any tool steel to make lathe cutting bits. So it's sort of a joke right now, but my plan is to kind of keep an eye out for estate sales of old machinists retiring, and I've already found some toolboxes for sale for fairly reasonable price with lots of nice high-end measuring stuff in them, so might be picking up some of those and start my stockpile of stuff. But this was not really an anticipated purchase. This was a lot more money than I planned on spending at that sale, but I decided that I wanted a new drill press. The antique one that I restored over there has so much run out that it's almost useless for metal, and this thing will be perfect for metal. One other thing is the vise and the compound, which is the angled portion here. are removable, and then the actual milling bed is underneath here. So if I need to mill something bigger, I'll probably keep an eye out for a bigger machinist vise, milling vise. Although this guy's probably plenty for what I need. It looks like it can hold, well, it looks like it's in millimeters. So I guess I don't have a in-feed dial here for inches. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna play around with this for a while. Maybe set up the camera and start taking it apart. Just thought I'd show it. Pretty, doesn't sound like much, but I'm pretty stoked about this. I really enjoy watching the big guys on YouTube, A-Bomb79 and This Old Tony and all those guys that know what they're doing, make things out of metal. And well, I want to learn. I can do wood, I can, do electronics, I can do body work to some extent, and I can repair mechanical stuff, but I don't know how to make anything out of metal very well. This would have been an ideal job for these little pieces right here, just little plates. I didn't get the holes quite drilled accurately enough, and so they don't bolt on very well. This is a stiffening bar, so since I don't have the doors on the car, I need to be able to, when I start cutting the floor out, I don't want the car to collapse, because the floor is going to be somewhat structural on this. And this will hold the door gap, so I need to make another one for the other side. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching.